Hello, everyone, and welcome to our July lunch bunch. Hope you're all enjoying the summer. It's going so fast. I can't believe it. I mean, we're going to blink, and all of our new students for this year are going to be showing up on campus, ready to move in and start classes in about a month. What? So, we're excited. Wheels are turning. A lot of preparations underway. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Ruth Jones with the Mines Alumni Engagement Team here on campus. If this is your very first lunch bunch, I do see some new faces, which is great. Welcome. We're really happy to have you this month. And for those of you who are our regular attendees, thank you so much for joining us again and for your continued support. We love to see your faces every month. We are excited today to have with us Coach Pete Sterbick. This is a big year ahead. We've got some new energy and some new direction, and looking forward to a successful football season again. We are excited. These programs every month for Lunch Bunch focus on the people and the programs that make Mines great. And certainly our football program has been a standout in so many of our recent years, especially last year. Show of hands or a thumbs up. How many of you on this call traveled to McKinney, Texas last year for the playoff? Anybody? John? Pete, I know you were there.
Was there.
Okay, good. Well, we very much hope to make a repeat appearance in the finals. It would be wonderful. So I want to get us started by celebrating a little bit of the Mines spirit, and our friend John is going to help kick us off here. Do you have your pom-poms? Do you have your Mines shirt? Here we go, everybody. Read along and sing. Football season is around the corner. Here we go. All right, are you guys pumped? Everybody nod. Did you all know the words? I hope you know the words. And at the end of the program, maybe one of you will volunteer to sing it for us, and I'll send you a really special Mines prize. No, kidding. Anyway, as I said, today we're excited to shine the spotlight on our head football coach, Pete Sterbick, who is going to provide for all of us a bit of a sneak peek and the inside scoop on our upcoming football season, which will officially kick off on Thursday, August 31st, when we play Grand Valley State here in Golden. So I hope you all have your calendar marked for that game. Pete is no stranger to Mines, having served as the Oredigger's offensive coordinator since 2019, and of course has been an integral part of the crew and the team that has led our Orediggers to the national championship games. So we're really excited to have you here. I know it's a busy time. You've got players coming back to campus. You're well into training and preparations for the season. So thank you for being here. Yeah. Before we start, everybody, a reminder, if you have questions as we go along, please feel free to type those into the chat. Or if you want to raise your hand, I'm sure Coach Pete wouldn't mind taking a question during the program. We will get to those questions as we go. If we don't, for some reason, we'll make note of your question and get back to you with an answer after the program is over. All of you, I think, know that our Lunch Bunch programs are recorded. So if you have to peace out early today, or if you know somebody who really wanted to come but couldn't join us, or if you want to listen to it again afterward, all of our recordings are saved on the Lunch Bunch page of our website, which all of you accessed today to register for the program. And that is at weare.minds.edu. And you'll see under the events tab where it says Lunch Bunch. And you can check out all of our recordings. Having done this now virtually for about 3 years now, we've got a good collection, a good little archive of programs from all across campus. So it's a nice little resource for you to learn more. We always welcome topics and ideas for future speakers and programs. So please let me know if there's something or someone that you'd like to hear from in the future. We are finalizing our fall calendar and looking into spring. So would welcome your feedback. Okay, with that, I'm going to stop talking. Please join me in welcoming Coach Pete Sterbick to this year's Lunch Bunch. Coach Pete.
Hey, thanks for having me. I really appreciate you guys being on here. And I'll go over kind of our season preview. I thought I'd give you a little background on myself because I'm sure some of you don't know anything about me. And so I'll just try to let you get to know me a little bit through this. I grew up the son of a high school coach. So as my dad likes to say, I was brainwashed from an early age in the realm of football. And he was a high school coach at Bennington High School in Nebraska. I was born in Omaha and lived in Nebraska till I was 10. He won a state title at Bennington in '89. And then we moved to the state of Washington for a year, way up in the northwest corner. He was head coach at Mount Baker for a year. And then we moved back to the Midwest. Believe it or not, we missed it. And moved to Iowa, Southwest Iowa. Glenwood High School is where I ended up going until I was a junior. So I lived there from 6th grade to 11th grade. And then he got the head coaching job at Des Moines Lincoln, which at the time was the biggest school in Iowa. And so I went to Lincoln on the south side of Des Moines, graduated from there. My last season playing there was 97, so graduated in 98. And then I played Division II ball at Augustana. It was Augustana College. Now it's Augustana University in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And was not an engineer. And that is why I coach. I was a PE major, minored in government, international affairs. And I always knew I wanted to coach. Played receiver in college and played a year of indoor ball for the Sioux Falls Storm, which is an arena team. And then got my start coaching 2003 with Missouri Western, another D2 program in St. Joe, Missouri, for Jerry Partridge in '03. And they didn't have grad school. And I figured if I was going to make $600 a month, I might as well get my grad school paid for. So I had the chance to go up to University of North Dakota, which at the time was D2, they're Division I now, and worked for Dale Lennon up there in 2004, which was a great move because I got going with grad school. And we were 11-3 that year, went to the semifinals and was going to get my master's there. And about 6 months away from that, I got a phone call from Washington State in late June of '05, and had a chance to go be a GA there. At the time it was the Pac-10 for Bill Doba for 3 years. It was a great experience to be at that level and, those stadiums you get to go to. And it was pretty incredible. Didn't have the results that you would like to have had, being on that stage. And our staff got let go and I got kept on for a little bit with the new staff. But I had GA'd 3 places. I had my master's and had a chance to go be an offensive coordinator at a pretty young age of 28 with a brand new program starting from scratch in Des Moines, which I kind of refer to as my hometown. It's one of my hometowns, but Grandview University was starting a program from the bottom up. And I had a chance to work for a great coach in Mike Woodley and get that thing going. I was there for 4 years and it was kind of an incredible experience going from being a Division I grad assistant to a brand new NAIA program where we were having 3-a-days. We had 90 kids on our team, 64 were freshmen. It was unbelievable. We jumped right in and played. We didn't have a building year like a lot of new programs take, but for a young coach, it was a great experience. But was there 4 years, went to the playoffs in my 4th year there. And then I was 32. I had a chance to be a head coach at McPherson College in Kansas, which if you don't know where that is, it's Tornado Alley. It's right in central Kansas. Was there for 2 years. And it was just, a lot of the small schools, that's why I know I'm so lucky to be here at Mines. The setup just isn't what you need. And I had a chance to go to Montana Tech in Butte, Montana, and work for Chuck Morrell, who is now Washington's defensive coordinator, University of Washington. Great coach, great experience there. We had made a couple of big runs after a tough first year. We had a couple 10-2 seasons. It's an engineering school, and it's one of the things that eventually got me interested when the Mines OC job opened after the 2018 season. If you remember, Nick Fulton was the offensive coordinator then. And I knew Nick, had talked ball with him and texted him about, the job that he had just left, and got in touch with Coach Brandon. And, things picked up pretty quick. I think by that night I had the flight booked to fly out and interview, and right before Christmas, and I took the job on Christmas Eve and came out January of 19, early January, and got to work. And it's just, it's been incredible. Obviously been really blessed to have a quarterback like John Matoka. He's been just a joy to coach. And for those of you that have gotten to meet him, you know what I mean. He's got something special about him. And COVID kind of, the silver linings that we have John back for another year, because we basically got a redshirt year with him. But obviously, we've had some good years. 2019, we were 12-1 and won 12 straight, and then slipped up in the playoffs. And then 21, we made a good run of the semis. And then this last year was besides the 0-2 start, was a pretty magical season. We don't like the result. Our guys we have a really interesting crew. For any of you that have gotten to know any of our players or know some of them, we're not sitting around satisfied about being national runner-up. It's kind of like last year at this time, our guys were kind of ticked off that we got beat in the semis. Well, now they're ticked off that we got it put to us pretty good in the finals this last year. And we got a really blue collar crew. I mean, they're just a joy to coach. Getting us some specifics, offensively, we got a really good group back. I was the offensive coordinator before I got this job, kind of unofficially April 19th. And then I think May 3rd was the actual official day. But I haven't changed part of the role. I'm the coach, the quarterback still call the offense. Tim Brandon got, promoted offensive coordinator. But I'm going to kind of groom him into it. And I want that last year with John. I feel like we've come too far for me to step away from continuing to call it with him. But we've got a really good group up, coming back up front. We've got 4 of our 5 starters back on the offensive line. And then actually 5 starters back. Zach Heckman is a kid that's played a lot of football for us that got hurt during the season. So we'll slide Steele Petty, who's our right guard, over to center to take Matt Armendariz' spot. Matt had a great career for us. And then Zach will step in at right guard. So we actually have 5 starters back. We got all the tight ends back. Could see some growth from them in the passing game. We'll see our players kind of dictate what we are. We try to do a good job of that. Running back wise, obviously we lost a really prolific guy in Mike Zeman, who's just tougher than heck. And he was pretty beat up his senior year, but with his production, you wouldn't have noticed it. I mean, he still had the same amount of touchdowns as he did the year before with 26. But we have a really good young crew back. Landon Walker, Chris Yu, Braylon Tate's a kid that we redshirted. He's from Legacy High School in Broomfield, who I think has a chance to be really special. Connor Mickelson, he's from Geneva, Illinois. He was a mid-year walk-on a year and a half ago. And it was crazy. We had a tryout on campus and he ran in the high 4.5s, and he's really going to be a good little player for us. And we do have a transfer coming in who got here about a month ago from Dartmouth. Noah Roper's a running back from Dartmouth and grad transfer. He's actually from Erie, Colorado. Really excited about him, watching him work out. He's got a physical presence. He's about 215 pounds. Really excited to see if he can help us, which I think he can. Obviously quarterback, we got the best one in the country back. And to be honest with you, I watch a lot of football when I have time, and I wouldn't take very many guys over John. I think we all know he's special, but I mean, I think he's legit, and he lights the room up. I always tell people when he walks in, the room gets brighter. I mean, he's just got that thing about him. And receiver's a spot that we lost some guys. Josh Johnston, who, if you're not aware, he got into camp with the Broncos, rookie mini camp, and then he's over in Barcelona, playing for the Barcelona Dragons in Spain. And he was a really good player for us. And then Tristan Smith and Mason Karp were 2 slot receivers for us that played a lot of ball and had just great careers with us. And they actually had a chance to come back. But they got, as you guys know about Mines, they got such great job offers before their senior season even started. And it was just too much money for them to turn down and wait. Believe me, I tried to talk him into that, but I also understood too. I mean, when you're well over six figures your first year out, that's pretty good. And we love those kids, and we'll miss them, but we have a really, really good crew coming back at that spot that I don't think a lot of people are aware of. And besides Max McLeod, was an All-American last year at 18 touchdown catches, just under 1,500 yards, 79 catches. I think he's a potential next level guy. He's actually got 2 more seasons with us if he wants to take both of them. He's really special. And then we've got some kids that redshirted. Axel Richard is a kid that was a 10-500 kid out of Klein High. That is, I think, going to be electric. And then Nick Stone is a kid that redshirted that'll play in the slot that I think's got a chance to be really special. And, and then we got Zach Hoffman back that he was number 19. He's a guy that was on the field a lot and just hasn't gotten the ball in his direction as much as I know he would like, but he's capable, and he's a 6th-year senior, and he's such a leader for us. And he's a lot like Josh Johnston as far as his work ethic. I mean, he is just all out all the time, max effort, same guy every day. Just love him. And, personally hope the best for him for a great senior year because he deserves it. But he's a kid we're really going to lean on. And then Billy Pospisil was a Washington State transfer that was really getting a lot of time early last season. And on our first drive of the game, I think the 3rd or 4th play of the game against Pueblo here at home, John scrambled out to his right, hit Billy on a scramble drill route, and Billy got hurt, blew his shoulder out, and he's coming back, and he's really progressed really well. So he's another guy that we'll look to kind of get back in the fold and get rolling. So I really do feel good about the receiver crew. And then Flynn Sheely is a kid that I think, people are going to be really surprised. He only had 2 catches last year. He's 6'4", can flat out fly. And he's a guy that's really come along. He's about 208 pounds. He's big and physical, and he's mean. And I mean, we're really excited to see what he can do. So that's another name to look out for. So receiver wise, I'm feeling good. And, defensively, we got a great crew back. As you know, if you're not aware, we led the country in sacks. We led every division of college football in sacks last year with 71 sacks. And Trip Thomas did a great job dialing up different blitz looks, per who we're playing. And he did a really good job of that. And I'm excited to see him take another step with his play calling defensively. A lot of people, I think, thought Coach Moore was calling the defense last year, but he wasn't. Coach Thomas was fully in charge of that. And so really, really happy that he's still with us. Really, everybody on staff is back besides Coach Moore. And everybody had a chance to go. So I'm flattered that they're here. It's huge to have that continuity, and defensively it starts with Trip. And then, we've got 8 starters back on defense. We lost basically 1 guy at each level of position, 1 D lineman and Cam Reller. We lost Mac Minahan at outside linebacker. He was our field backer. And we lost Mason Pierce, who was our boundary corner. So 3 really good players. Mason's playing up in Toronto right now. He's on the practice squad with the Argonauts. He's a great player for us, but we've got a lot of the rotational guys back. And those of you who are aware, defensively, it's all about your depth and who you can rotate through to keep guys fresh. And we have a really good group of, good continuity on the front, on the D line and the linebackers, as far as being able to put the pressure on the quarterback. And, really excited about Zach Hester and Jack Peterson, Peyton Rose, Kyle Bonson. Those are those guys up front that are going to get after it pretty good. And then Nolan Reeve is just a freak off the edge. He's our boundary backer. And Jaden Healy is going to take Mac Minahan's spot as the field backer. And I think he has a chance to be as good or better than Mac was. And, that's saying a lot. Number 9 was out there wreaking havoc on everybody. And I think Jaden is right in that same mold. Cam Forrest is back as our field corner. He's a 5th-year senior, this will be his 3rd year starting. He's got a lot of experience. And I think at the boundary corner spot, Jackson Zimmerman, who's a Valor Christian kid, who's got more length than Mason. I mean, he's about 6'1", plays long. He's just young, and he just hasn't, doesn't have the game experience quite yet that he'll get. And he'll get to that point where we'll really be able to count on him. And then safety wise, we've got both of our safeties back, and Logan Rayburn, Jaden Williams, who played a lot of football for us. And we've got a handful of guys that we'll get into sub packages when teams are going to play more 4 wide. We'll bring in an extra safety, Colin Romero, Nate Sutter, Joel Diaz. We got a handful of kids that can come in and play man to man, or guys that maybe we can even bring off the edge and do some different things with. So a lot of things to be excited about. Special teams wise, that, that's a spot that we've got to be better. And hopefully we've got a transfer coming in at kicker, Hunter Pearson, who actually started some games for Virginia a couple years ago, and he can kick the heck out of it. So we'll see if he can impact us and take some things off Jacob Click's plate, because really Jacob's really a punter by trade that can also kick. And I think it probably hurt him a little bit last year that we had him doing everything. So hopefully we can take a step in that direction, because I think we have really good players to put on the field special teams wise. As far as our coverage units, I think our return game is going to take a step forward. I think we're faster than we've ever been, and a lot of that was red shirts last year. So we got some kids that help in the return game that I think we can be a little bit more dynamic and take a step forward. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited. We've got RMAC Media Days coming up next week, and I know the questions I'm going to get asked by them, but you're not good for the next season because of what you've done before. And our guys know that. We're locked in. We understand we got to start from the start. I don't want to be 0-2 again. I talked to our guys about that. May 1st, I had a meeting, the last team meeting I had with our guys before finals, and they took off, for the summer, at least for a couple of weeks. And a lot of guys are back. Had about 80 to 90 kids around all summer. But I told them, we lost 3 games last year, and our standard's pretty high. We expect to win the RMAC. We expect to make big runs and put ourselves in a situation to, push for a national title. And we did that last year, but we had to overcome a lot being 0-2. So our whole theme going into this summer is, find the edge, start from the start. Like, we could talk about the national championship all we want, but we've got the number 2 team in the country coming in here August 31st. The next week we go down to San Angelo, Texas, which we played there in the quarterfinals last year. They're ranked 6th in the country. And it wasn't much fun sitting there 0-2 last year. I can tell you that. I knew we'd be all right. We nothing ever dipped confidence wise, but regardless, we were 0-2 at that point. So we're doing everything we can to get off to a better start. And we love our kids. I've been enough different places to know that our guys are special, unique. They're about the right stuff. We don't have to deal with a lot of the off the field issues, knock on wood, that other places do. We didn't have one player going to the transfer portal. We didn't have anybody talk about it at all, which is really rare these days. NIL, our kids don't care about that stuff, at least that I know of. Maybe some of you have gotten contacted about that. I've had a couple of alums ask me, and I'm just, that stuff doesn't come up with our guys. It's like a winning lottery ticket getting a Mines degree. We tell everybody that, and that's the truth. So our guys are really different than everybody else. And we truly are like an Ivy, that's a Division II school with high standards. We got great facilities. I think there's things that we need to keep pushing for, that we can make even better. And it's like being on a treadmill. You got to keep up. You got to stay with it. You never just get settled, content or satisfied, because I think you can become complacent. So we're all about pushing the envelope and trying to take the next step. And that's winning a national title. So we're definitely excited to be in this position, but at the same time, we've got a lot of work to do. And before we ever get to that first game, and then just really be nearsighted going through our season. We keep our mind on the ultimate goal, but we're also just going to take care of what's right in front of us, and day by day, and just try to stay focused that way, and don't take anybody lightly. That's the way. I think that's the reason we're able to perform in some games that the way we are and really put people away, is because we hit reset each week and take everybody seriously and respect them, and then put it to them. And that's what we've got to just do it again, each week as it comes, and have a lot of fun doing it. But yeah, so that's kind of the preview for our season. Open up to any questions you guys have, or anything you guys want to talk about.
Hey guys,
Jack.
this is James Tyree. Let's see. I was an offensive lineman 03 through 08. So the
Awesome.
prime of the Bob Stitt era.
Yeah.
And question I've got for you just involves like your identity and the identity that you're looking to instill with the team. As you know, with Marv and Bob and Coach Brandon and Coach Moore, they all had, a very different approach to their team. In addition to the X's and O's, just what type of identity are you looking to imprint on this team? because, obviously it's not just this upcoming year with the national championship, but, hopefully many in the future. And so what does that look like in the Coach Sterbick era?
No, it's a good question. All the guys I've worked for, I try to draw the best from each of those guys. And I worked for Coach Brandon and worked for Coach Moore for a year. And the structure part of our program really isn't going to change much. The way we do things, when we meet, how we practice, the ideals of our program, but I got to be me, I got to be myself within that, put my own spin on things. But a lot of it's going to be pretty consistent. It's all about our players. Like this program is, and we always talk about coach fed, player led, and that's still what we're going to be. Our guys are leading our program. I want them to feel like they have a big stake in this because this is their experience. And we are very in touch with what our guys have to go through up on the hill academically. And when they come down to practice, it's honestly, and a lot of you guys know this, it's like a break, and they get to just lock in. And I know it's why our kids are so close, why our culture is so good. Our guys are so tight knit and they go through all the same things. Most of these guys come in and they start off in those same classes and they struggle and they lean on each other. And a lot of those things kind of organically happen with our program, but I want to just facilitate it so that continues. But we're blue collar, we're tough, physical. I mean, those things aren't really going to change too much. We're just going to try to lean on the same things. And, that's the biggest thing I took from Coach Brandon was the structural part is how well I noticed right when I came in here, how well things were run, and staying on top of things and not just assuming things are going to get done and doing everything I can. I had 104 meetings with our players, individual meetings, right where I'm sitting right now. And I asked every one of those kids, what could I do for them? How can I help you? And that's what I want. That's got to continue, because you never know what's going on in these kids' lives at times. And I'm here for them. And I think, it should be like that anyway. We got to care about our players. And as a football coach, compared to any other sport, I've got way more kids than anybody that I'm in charge of, but I'm going to do everything I can to connect with them and make sure that they know I'm here for them. And I think that carries over to every other aspect of the program. I know Trip Thomas and Tim Brandon, both our coordinators, just love our kids and they're there for them. And you kind of goes, you have your subcultures, your offense and defense, and it goes into position group. But no matter what, this thing's just going to continue to be about our players. We've got a great recruiting coordinator and Ryan Diedrich. He coaches the receivers. He's our pass game coordinator. He does such a good job of structurally aligning us to recruit what we're looking for and everything that flows that way. That's not going to change at all. And honestly, I just feel like that's improved with him leading the charge the last couple of years on that. But this is a player-led program. And really when you have things going already, which I'm not under any illusion, this thing's running in the right direction. You really got to manage a lot of that. A lot of other places, you got to build it up and talk about things you've never done before. But, for us, that last step on that's just, sealing the deal, in the middle of the week before Christmas in December, so we're going to keep this going and keep it about our guys.
John.
Hey, Coach. John Gould here. I played back in the mid-'70s with Marv as a defensive back. I'm big enough now to probably weigh like a linebacker, but
Same here.
27-year resident of West Texas, and I see we're going down to Angelo in September. It's been hotter than Hades down there this year. What do you guys do? Do you do anything extra to try and train for the heat? I know it's an evening game, but shoot, it's still hot at 6 o'clock in the evening down there. Anything special you do for training?
Nothing in particular. When we get going in fall camp before school starts, we practice in the morning. Honestly, to get them up when they're tired, make them feel a little uncomfortable, get them acclimated that way. And then we evolve through camp to have some afternoon practices and try to hit it when it's going to be hottest here. And sometimes, honestly, that happens when we have our 4:05 practice in the afternoon. We'll talk about it, make sure guys are going to stay hydrated, and the game's at 6. I'm glad it's not at noon. I know it'll still be hot at 6. But there's really not a ton. I mean, I think it's kind of the same as when people come here and have to deal with the elevation. I think you got to be aware of it, but you don't want to over talk about it. But I think staying hydrated is a huge thing, because I've been places where guys cramp up, and I mean, God, guys can't play when they get get cramped up bad, but nothing in particular, but we will practice throughout the day. We only have one practice a day now. There's no 2-a-days, any of that stuff. NCAA won't allow that. So you're not able to grind on them quite as much. You hope, Trevor Florendo does such a good job with our strength program. You hope throughout the summer that, they've been outside pushing it and, getting comfortable being uncomfortable. And you get to the point in camp where we're kind of ready for anything. But yeah, regardless, I know it's going to be hot down there.
Great, thanks.
Coach?
Yeah.
How come you can't do 2-a-days anymore? Maybe I'm out of the loop here, but what's the deal on that?
Yeah, the NCAA just kind of has backed off of that. I mean, for a while you could only have 3 days of 2-a-days, and then you had to go to single day practices. And then now it's the NCAA just mandated basically more rest for the players. And then, the one thing about that, I think in the past, I mean, even when I was playing, we'd have about half our team in town, and Sioux Falls was a big enough town where kids could find jobs, maybe a little over half. So when you got to fall camp, I think a lot of places use 2-a-days or even 3-a-days to get their team in shape.
Mm-hmm.
We have such a good strength program here, and a lot of places do, that they should be getting in shape throughout the summer. So you don't really need to use fall camp for that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It can hurt from a schematic standpoint, getting in your offense, defense, and special teams and repping all the things that you want to run. But you can still have walkthroughs and, mentally that's helpful. But yeah, the NCAA has just gotten away from it.
Interesting. Thanks.
Yeah, sure.
Question from Jack. And Jack, I think you need to unmute. There you go.
Coach, yeah, I'm curious, what kind of off-season training session do you have? I was at mines from 55 to 60, and I played for 2 years of JV, and then I played a couple of years for Fritz Beneke as an N. There was no such thing as off-season training. In fact, there was nothing but football. There was no weights, no nothing, no training. Physical training. What do they do? I know they do something off season. What do the players do? And do you test them when they come back in to make sure that they've been following the off season program?
Yeah, so Trevor Florendo played running back here and was a mechanical engineering major. And then he got into strength conditioning. And when Coach Brandon got here, he was able to help fund Trevor becoming a full-time strength coach for football. And he also helps out with other sports programs as well, but his main gig is football. So he devises everything throughout the whole year for us, strength and conditioning. We got a great weight room, great field, obviously, to go out and run on and, do the things he has us do out there. But it's pretty regimented. I think June 3rd was our first day of the off-season workout. So it's just about 2 months. It's an 8-week program, and we take the week of 4th of July off, but it's a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, lifting, a lot of functional activity, a lot of plyometrics and agilities and change of direction. And then, our guys work during the summer, obviously. Some of them have internships, or they just have their summer jobs. So they come in early in the morning. We have a 6 o'clock group, especially Friday morning. This year, we have a 6 a.m. running group, and they get after. That's kind of the peak day of the week. But the rest of the week is really, we have like a 9:30 group, and then I think a 4 o'clock group. And then we have some guys that come in at 6 because they work later. They start earlier and work a little later. Guys have different jobs. So, and Endo is here, and then he has Isaiah Castellas is one of our other strength coaches, and he came over from Metro State. He brought a bunch of interns with him. So we have a really good internship program. So what that does strength-wise is it has a lot more eyes on our kids, which is huge. If you get 80 guys in the weight room, or a big number, it's hard to keep track of everybody. So we have a lot of kind of intern coaches that take care of that. We're really not able to do a ton with them football coaching wise during the summer. So it's huge to have someone like Endo, who honestly, if people ask why our culture is so good, after, I already talked about our players, but he's a huge reason. He knows what it's like to be a Mines player and connects with those kids.
Yeah, but what about the guys that aren't here in Colorado?
Yep. So we have, everything's digital these days. So back when I was playing, we'd have a book we'd take home with us, but he he sends it out to them. We have an app that we use, and I mean, they'll literally have their cell phone right there and they're looking at, the exact same workout. It's just that, when our guys go intern, and we have 3 kids in Midland, interning right now in oil and gas companies, and those guys are out there grinding on their own, and they got to be accountable for themselves. And as far as the testing part, like you said, we don't have our kids that have been here. If they've been here enough, and they're, because we take attendance and everything, then there's no testing. Then we'll have some testing that Endo just oversees for the guys that come back, and especially the freshmen. And it's really not a punishment thing or anything like, it's just to kind of gauge where they are, to find out what type of shape they're in. But it's really a self accountability thing when guys are away from campus, and that's why we love them to try to be here if they can. But honestly, I remember Coach Brandon telling me about Justin Dvorak before the 2016 season, because he thought JD was going to be here all summer, and JD said, "No, I'm going to be on an oil rig in Williston, North Dakota, or wherever he was going." And Coach Brandon was like, "What?" And he ended up winning the Harlan Hill that year. So I mean, if guys are ready, they're ready, and it just kind of depends kid to kid on that. But hopefully, you hope you got a good enough culture that if guys are away from here, that they're putting in the work.
Thanks.
You bet.
Hey, Coach, Brad Bacon. I played for Marv in the early 80s.
You bet.
What is game day going to be like for you? Because it's different being head coach and calling plays versus a coordinator calling plays. How is that going to happen on game days?
Yeah, obviously I'll be on the sideline. I think I've been on the sideline for about 35 games of the 15 years I've called plays. So I've done it before. I got a great guy up in the box. Ryan Diedrich will be up there. I mean, he's brilliant. So to having the set of eyes up top, I'm really excited about that. I'm looking forward to being on the field, on the sideline with John, as opposed to being up, just to be able to communicate with him better. But it's, you got to be mindful of it, because, the defense is on the field. I can't just be back there the whole time talking to the offense. You got to be quick and calculated. And then, Tim Brandon is our offensive coordinator, so communication with him throughout the game is going to be huge. And I think when you call it from the sideline, it just makes your in-week game planning that much more important, because you're not upstairs seeing everything from that perspective. You have definitely a different viewpoint, but I'm excited about it. You kind of lose and gain things from going up or down, but the one thing you gain is just the connection with the players, because I don't have to get John on headphones, and wait for him to get over there and talk to him. I can talk to him right away. But I'm fired up to be down there. I think it's going to be awesome.
Hey, Coach.
Hey, Dave.
Welcome. How you doing? Thank you.
Good.
Hey, following up on Brad's, and you know all this, sometimes that dynamic, going from the booth to the sideline, still calling the plays.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have somebody on your team, kind of specifically on your staff, assigned to that, kind of be that bird in your ear, big picture, global? Hey, Coach, 2 first downs, we got this wrapped up. Or hey,
Yeah.
so that you can't be, it's easy to be lost in the moment, particularly early in that journey as a coordinator / head coach, double duty. Do you have somebody kind of who's going to be that, so you don't have 19 voices in your ear telling you how to manage the game, that one trusted bird in the ear to help you be a little ahead?
Yeah. The last couple of years, then there's different situations you can get into. Like Tim Brandon he had the title of our run game coordinator last year. So I leaned on him a little bit more, just to give him a little bit more autonomy with that. So that's just going to increase. But having Deeds up in the box, I mean, when we would get into some of that 2-minute offense or 4-minute offense, could we kneel it? When could we kneel it? Because it changes. You got one time, they got 1 timeout or 2 or 3 and all those kind of things. And he did that a little bit last year. And we would kind of communicate on that, even though he was on the field then and I was up, just to verify. But I'll probably lean on him even more with that.
Yeah.
I mean, he's brilliant. He was an intern for us, but then also went to grad school at Mines and got his ETM master's degree. And I mean, he's He's awesome, and we're lucky
Good,
he's
good.
still here. So yeah, he'll do a really good job with that. And I'll definitely lean on him. I mean, Ian, it's funny, like little things like if you get close to the first down marker, so if I'm down on the left and I'm looking, I can't
Yeah.
see if we got it or not, but he can see it
Yeah.
up top. Those kind of things I
Yeah.
think he'll be really good on. And then I usually stand when I'm on the sideline. I never stand past the line of scrimmage. I'll be at or behind it, but Tim will stand down far to kind of gain a different perspective. So I think there's some things, and we got into a couple situations run game wise against Shepherd where we had checks for John, or I would sight check it, like we'd have a look back.
Yeah.
Oh, we want to check the play. And Tim has a good enough perspective when he does that obviously I'll just lean on him for some run game things. But yeah, and those are things, in practice, you got to practice those kind of things.
Yeah.
And before I would script until we'd scrimmage, then I would just call it. But I think we'll have some times where Trip might just call it as well, but so I can practice calling it from the sideline.
Yeah.
I mean, I got a chance to do that in the spring game as I talked to you right after. I mean, I found out April 19th was our second to last practice that Brandon was leaving and I was getting the job. And then I had to tell the team, and then we had to go practice. And then, so I only had one day to actually call it in the spring game, but it was good because it wasn't that uncomfortable. I kind of wondered how I'd feel with everything that was going on. So it was kind of good to get thrown in the fire a little bit per se, but I got to just keep leaning on our players. I mean, that's the biggest thing. Those guys do.
Well, that global, I think Brad was hinting at that global game management, which is less about the play than the global, that, having somebody help you be that look ahead person will be good thing.
Yeah. You definitely have to have some go-tos because like you said, you don't want a ton of different voices telling you what's going on. I mean, defensively, there's going to be one voice that's going to be Trip, I mean, just as far as our communication, and I'm excited about that. We got a great relationship, and I think that's going to be fun.
Great.
I've got one quick question, sort of on the side of this. We had a wonderful celebration for Marv Kay for a memorial for him. Are you doing anything specific to maintain his legacy with the team as you go forward?
Well, the stadium's named after him, so that right there gets talked. I mean, everybody knows that name because of where we play. So I think that's going to be something that's going to be lasting for a long, long time. I have so many things going on with just getting ready for camp. I haven't had a chance to ask when we're going to do something, but I'm sure we'll do something during the season. Because he's state legend, and I don't know if that really encapsulates what he is to this place, and that's why the stadium's named after him. But that's just a constant with us. But yeah, I'm sure there's some things that we'll do. Some of those things I'm really not in charge of. But so that's a good question. But I know we'll definitely continue to find ways to honor him.
I'm not sure, but I think they're going to do something on the game on the 16th, along with the football alumni game.
Okay, that's the Adams game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they're going to honor his daughters as the minors of the week.
Great. Good to know. Thanks, Brad.
And shameless plug number one, if you're going to play in the football alumni golf tournament, we're going to provide Colorado red hats with Blaster on front and Marv on the side of the hat, just sort of as a hat tip to Marv.
That's cool.
Very cool.
Shameless plug number two. That's on the golf is on the 15th before the game on the 16th.
I apologize for the couple of you that have had to golf with me. I think Dean and George are probably on here. I don't know if Kelly's on here or not, but those guys have had to suffer through that.
I had to organize a tournament to get someone to play with me.
Pete, I know you think about every team and every game, and you strategize and you research, and who are these players all about? As you look at the lineup of games for this season, is there one game or one team in particular that is, in your opinion, our biggest challenge, and why?
Honestly, and it's not just because it's the first game, but Grand Valley is loaded. I mean, their defensive front, they lost one guy on their D line. They have a Division I defensive line. They're big, physical, fast. They do really well schematically. They're really well coached. So that's always a concern, is a defense like that. They did lose some guys at corner. They had their best corner transfer to Wisconsin. Offensively, they're physical, their quarterback's big, he can run. They had both their top receivers transfer. I don't know if you guys have heard of that, or that happened, but one guy went to Texas A&M and the other one went to Bowling Green. And so at least those guys aren't back, but I mean, they're really a well-coached program, and those guys do a great job. And they have a new head coach as well. Their head coach left to go to Wisconsin, and then their O-line coach got promoted. So yeah, I mean, that's going to be a tough one. And then Angelo State is Jeff Gersh is their head coach. He's a friend of mine. He's a really, really good coach, great guy. And they lost some guys in the portal, but they'll just reload. I mean, it's hard to look past those first two. And honestly, because we probably know more about them, like we have Pueblo, the fourth game, which we don't like them at all. That isn't going to change in this program, I'll tell you that much. But they've had guys transfer out, transfer in. Fort Hays State's quarterback, who we scrimmaged against them a couple springs ago, spring of 21. He's really good. And I'm curious to see if he ends up being their guy. And I think they got a tailback from Fort Hays. And, Mesa, I think, has had a huge turnover. And the concern with that is, what are they bringing in? What kind of kids are they bringing in? And, because those transfers, you just don't know about them. Western does a great job. Jazz Baines is a really, really good coach, and their kids are always real tough and gritty, and they play us tough. I'd like to stop having such crazy matchups with them like we have the last 2 years. But, that's always a big game for us. But honestly, we just try to take it week by week, and I'll know, well, everybody will know more about each other as you go through the season too. But those first two games are hard to look past.
Yeah. All right.
This is Chuck Schultz. I played with Marv in the late 50s. You haven't said much about your freshman class that's coming in. How good of a recruiting season have you had?
I think it's really good. We've had about 12 freshmen on campus most of the summers, we've never had that many that early. So we've gotten to see these kids run around, because we can watch the workouts, especially on Friday mornings, and watch these kids move. And we've got probably as much speed coming in and length that we've ever had in a class. We've got 33 freshmen coming in. We've got some real good size on the O-line and D-line, which we're really excited about. And, people ask if I think any of those guys will play. You'd like to hope that we're a good enough program where we don't need any true freshmen to play. But then you also hope you've recruited well enough where you're out recruiting some of the guys you maybe have in your two deep. And so we'll see. Time will tell if any of those guys will impact us. They did change the rule where true freshmen can play 3 games and not lose their red shirt. We have a couple tight ends that are the tight ends we usually can't get. One kid had 3 FBS offers, and we got him. And he just wanted engineering that much and could afford it, and didn't have to take a full ride to any of those 3 places. And we got a receiver from Chicago that I think's got a chance to be the next guy down the line. And we got a couple really good quarterbacks coming in. But you just, you're going off of film. You're going off of meeting them and getting to know them, and then they get into the situation where they're playing college football, and you just don't know how kids are going to react. So I always kind of hold back on how excited I'm going to be about freshmen helping early. But I think we've recruited well enough that we're pretty intrigued to find out what they look like, starting on August 7th when we start practicing. So we're extremely excited about these guys, though.
Other questions?
Hey, Coach, are practices open?
Yeah, you guys can come anytime. I think Tim Flynn posted our practice schedule. Yeah, alums. Yeah, anytime you guys ever want to come, for sure.
Great, thanks.
Maybe sit in the maybe don't come out there on the field and stand right next to me.
Oh yeah.
Otherwise, yeah. Let me back up there. You guys can come and sit in the stands anytime you want. But no, honestly, just come by anytime. Yeah, love to have you.
Perfect.
If you guys ever want to talk to the team, email me, and would love to have that. I know Kelly Cook's coming to talk to our guys the Tuesday on the 29th of August before we play Grand Valley. We love that. I want that connection, from you guys to them and vice versa. So anytime anybody wants to come talk to our guys, just give me a heads up and we'll make that happen.
Any last questions before we start to wrap up? Okay, well, thank you everybody for joining us. Can't wait to get this machine going. We are on standby for a heck of a season. No, correct that, a hell of a season, right? I have a few quick announcements before we say goodbye. First of all, we have a special event coming up on August 1st. That is a Tuesday evening, and it will be in Longmont, Colorado at Left Hand Brewery. So for those of you who are local, I hope you'll consider coming out. It's a coaches panel. We're going to do kind of a sneak peek with many of our coaches, including Coach Pete. We'll have Greg Mulholland and Kevin Fickus from our men's and women's soccer teams, Claire McDaniel from the men's and women's swimming program, and Matt Sparks from our track and field program. So this is a chance for you to get to know them and hear about their plans and ask some questions. We'll have complimentary appetizers and a first round for everybody who'd like to join us. It's on our website, again, at weare.mines.edu. Click on events and you'll see it. That's again, Tuesday, August 1st at Left Hand Brewing. So that'll be fun to kind of get up and out and get on the road with our Coaches Roadshow. So make a note. Also, as I do each month, I'd like to just remind you about our program, Lunch Bunch program for next month. That'll be on August 17th. This is also posted on our Lunch Bunch page. We'll be hearing from Lori Kester, who is the Vice President of Enrollment Management here at Mines. And I think that'll be an interesting talk, an update on the admissions process here, what we look for, what are the trends, what is happening in the admissions world, and there's a lot happening, as you know. So bring your questions. It'll be a great time because we are at that very week welcoming in our newest class. And as I understand it, our numbers for the incoming freshman class this year are about 1,500. So it's a very large class. I think one of the largest, if not the largest, in Mines history. So big new crop of Orediggers to welcome to the Mines community. So that's it from me. Mark your calendars, join us. We love seeing you on Lunch Bunch. Again, this is recorded, so if you want to look back and listen again or share with a friend, this will be posted to the Lunch Bunch page of our website. It takes a few days to get the recording posted, but it'll be there. Anything else for the good of the order, Coach Pete?
No, appreciate your support and looking forward to seeing you guys on game day.
All right. Thanks, everybody, and go Orediggers.